Morning, lovely viewer. I'm sure many people, they tune into my YouTube channel for comedy value. I'm sure that happens, and I don't mind that because I laugh at myself sometimes with my roses. But in case you don't recognise this, this is my mum's garden, and I have no shame. Look at all the weeds in the beds here. But what I wanted to talk about in this video is the training of shrub roses. And you know, there's thousands of videos on YouTube about the pruning of roses and the training of fruit trees and the training of climbing roses, but I've never seen the training of our shrub roses. And that is what I wanted to show you and to discuss in this video. But like I say, I have no shame. You're going to see a whole load of weeds in this garden. So we're going to do this now. We're going to do it. It needs an awful lot of work. Yeah, the training of shrub roses. Now, oh, I'm in the sun here. It's early in the morning. I mean, look at this. This is a rose. It's Fruity Parfuma, and these stems here, many of them were just growing up centrally, and the wall book says, you know, we should create this airy centre. And I don't think it's all to do with the sucateurs and pruning and cutting. I've had great success with just moving these stems gently, carefully, and then tying them in place to give us that, oh, my shadow's gonna, to give us that sort of that shape, chalice sort of shape. And it doesn't take long for these stems to learn the new position. Probably in 6 weeks time I can cut the string on these supports here, and that chalice shape will just remain there. And that is without any cuts. That is without any. I have pruned it already, but with several of those canes going straight up the middle, I've just carefully repositioned them and tied them in place. And you can see, I mean, there's one that I've done last year. This is Gabriel Oak, and I can remember it was that cane there that I had to just push back and just tie back in place. And now you can see it's lovely. It's in that great sort of chalice sort of shape. Some of them it was fluke. You know, I do several things to try and achieve this shape. I nip in the bud, as I've said before. If I see a stem that's growing in the wrong direction, I'll nip it in the bud. Or perhaps as a stem is growing, I might try and manipulate it a bit, or I might prune it out. But I think it's more than just cutting. I really honestly believe that. You throw all of these in together and just give it a little bit of persuasion. Some of these, this is Rose Emily Bronte, some of these canes are behaving probably from last year. They're not actually being supported now because time's gone on, they've learnt their shape, but some of them were growing up the middle. In fact, I'll show you this here. Again, look, I have no shame. Look at all these weeds. Some of them were growing up the middle here. You see, I've pruned a thick one out there, here, and one here. And this one here, this one's still growing up the middle, but I've decided to leave that one in place because this is a healthy rose. And you know, it's a young stem, as are several of these. There's probably half of these stems actually are from last year. You see, some of them I've just persuaded just to give me that chalice sort of shape. And it won't take long. Like I say, it will not take long. I will cut the strings and that rose will be in that position with that lovely airy centre. This rose here, this is Champagne Moment. Now, can you see? I've got no shame. Look at these weeds here. Look, it's all over the place. This stem here, can you see? It was coming out towards me, and it was a bit close to this stem here. So I've just moved it over to the side here to fill this gap. There's a little bit of a gap, so I've just, thank you very much, just moved it there. And in a short period of time, this stem here will have learnt its new position. Just carefully pull it over. Now this one here, see this stem here, where's my finger? There. This stem was actually crossing the stem above it. So what I've done is I've just pushed it over that way just a bit, and then I've just carefully pulled it down. The rule book says, you know, crossing stems, cut it out, but depending on how badly they are crossing, sometimes it's possible to just maneuver to get it out of the way. And particularly a young stem, I didn't want to cut it. I just wanted to maneuver it, a young stem, and just to fill that gap there over the back to give me that lovely sort of shape. Now this rose here, this one here is Chandos Beauty, and this stem here that I'm talking about, I showed Gav at the time, it was a stem that grew last year, and it grew out in that direction there, and it was out of balance. There was nothing on this side at all, and unfortunately it didn't give me any basal breaks coming out this way. So the latter parts of last year, what I done was, and I used this stick here, funnily enough, I used this stick here as it was growing. I don't know if you can see the snakes in this cane here. There's one there, and there's one down here, all the way down here. What I've done was I carefully maneuvered it round towards that direction. Going from that direction, I've moved it carefully all the way round, and then more recently, now this cane has stiffened up, I've pulled it around just a bit more, and I've tied it in place here to give me that balance to the rose on this side. And that's something that worked well. And the stems on this cane, they are not as flexible as other varieties. So it was a case of doing it over a period of time. But you can see I've managed to get 45 degrees out of that particular cane. Some of the canes are more flexible than others. You know, you don't want to overdo it. You don't want them coming all the way down, but just enough to form that nice airy center and the chalice sort of shape. But you're not always going to get away with it. You're not always going to have that lovely chalice shape. But you see here, I've cut away all these stems here, and that's going to be a lovely stem that comes out here, and there's another one going out that way. I don't know if you can see that fresh bud coming out. There's one coming out here, and that's gonna do well. But you're not always, there's a basil break there, lovely one, that's going to go in that direction. This is Olivia Rose Austin. I haven't pruned out here. This is another healthy variety, so I'm not so worried about the this central sort of growth here. But I'm still going to try and get that shape. But it's just something I don't see it, and it will only be a matter of time. Probably in 6 weeks from now, I'll cut these bits of string, and these stems would have learnt their shape. They'll be in position, and these canes will not be doing anything. They'll just be in the ground, not doing anything. But it'll give me a chance to weed these beds. In fact, I've just noticed this here. This one was probably from last year. That's not doing anything. I've got better examples in my house. Maybe I'll drop some footage of my garden that has less weeds. But you see that there was just forced down, just carefully, just a little bit. Yeah, I've had to cut in to show some from my garden. This is Rose Elizabeth, and I'm not sure if you can see that. There's only one stem here that's supported, and I've just watched the video that I just filmed at my mum's house. It's important to note that these stems are not 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. You're not going to be able to manipulate that shape. Most of these stems here, believe it or not, were basil breaks from last year. Basil break, basil break, basil break, and basil break. The only one that wasn't was actually this one here. This was the original one, and you can see I've pruned out some. So particularly with these younger stems, you're not going to do it on ancient stems. It's as simple as that. But that one there is the only one that I'm encouraging, and you're not going to fluke that. You are literally not going to fluke that. So I thought I'd show you that, but that's going to be a lovely shape for next year. I'll show you some more. I know that it's something that works for me. I know it works for me, but there you go. Look at that. Just carefully over a period of time, 6 weeks, and but the best time to do this is probably actually in November. Do it then, and the cold evenings will hit those stems, harden them up. But even now, you know, I haven't been, you can see I haven't been here for some time. Even now I've decided to do it now before I go around and get all these weeded. Now, like I say, I'm sure many people, they tune into my channel for comedy value. It's just something that I do, and I know that it works. It works for me to free up that centre. It's not just about the cuts that we make in our roses trying to form the shape. It's perfectly acceptable for us to do this with fruit trees and climbing roses. Everyone knows that, like I said before, but it's just something I haven't heard of for shrub roses. But I'm going to leave you with the rose, because there's always flowers in my mum's garden throughout the year, and here is the proof. What date are we on today? I can't see my watch, I'm blind, but there you go. There's a rose deep secret. Right, lovely viewer, I hope you have a lovely day.